Good morning, children. We'll go on to a new lesson today. It is Engaging English textbook. The lesson is on page 81, Elder Brother by Munishi Premchand. In this chapter, we will explore the relationship between two brothers, ranging from fear to respect and rivalry to affection. At first, there was no good relationship, but eventually, at the end of the story, they came to love each other. Fear. The younger brother was afraid of the elder brother, but eventually he began to understand him and to respect him. Understand the meaning of education, various methods of studying, and the influence siblings have on each other. How you can influence your brothers and sisters at home. Practice main and subordinate clauses. That is the grammar part of it. Do you have an older sibling who always tells you what to do? Usually, younger children do not wish to be always ordered and instructed by the elder brothers or sisters. Read the story about two brothers who live away from home to attend school. They are in the school hostel. Read on to find out how their relationship changes over time. In the course of the years, the relationship will change. As we read in the introduction, from fear to respect and from rivalry to affection. My brother was 5 years older than me, but only 3 grades ahead. He was only 3 classes ahead of him, even though he was 5 years older. He had begun his studies at the same age as I, but he didn't like the idea of moving hastily in an important matter like education. He took 2 years to do 1 year's work. Sometimes he even took 3. So he was not given a pass every year. He failed in 1 or 2 years. That is why he is only 3 grades even though he is 5 years older. I was 9, he was 14. He had full right by seniority to supervise me. They are in the hostel. The parents are not there. So it is the duty of the elder brother to lead and guide the younger brother in all aspects. In academics, character building, in sports activities, all this. And I was accepted and I was expected to accept every order of his. Being the younger brother, he felt that the older brother felt that it was the duty of the younger brother to obey him. He was very studious by nature. He is always studying, always reading. He was not interested in games or playing. He was always sitting with a book open. And perhaps to rest his brain, he would sometimes draw pictures of birds, dogs, and cats on the margins of the notebook. When he gets tired of reading or learning, he will indulge in drawing pictures. He will not get up and go out and play, but he will sit there and draw pictures by the side of the book. Sometimes he would write a name, a word, or a sentence 10 or 20 times. The same word or sentence he will keep on writing. He would copy a stanza several times in beautiful letters. His handwriting was very good. So if it is a poem, he will write the poem many times or create new words that made no sense. He would try to improvise or make new words, which was not sensible at all. I didn't really like studying. Younger brother did not like to study. To pick up a book and sit with it for an hour was too much of an effort. He had to put in a lot of struggle to sit even for 1 hour with the book in front of him. As soon as I got a chance, I would leave the hostel and go to the playground and play marbles or fly kites or just meet a friend. What could be more fun? So he did not find anything interesting, anything enjoyable in studying or reading. He liked to play marbles or fly kites or talking with friends. But as soon as I came back into the room, after playing, after going out, when he came back into the room and saw my brother's scowling face, scowling, angry, because The elder brother does not want the younger brother to waste his time in playing. I would be terrified. He was frightened. The elder brother would look angrily as if to say, "Why are you wasting your time? You must spend all the time in studying." His first question would be, "Where were you?" Always the same question, which he would ask in the same tone, and I could only answer with silence. He was not able to reply because the younger brother felt guilty that he had wasted his time playing, and this idea is according to the elder brother. I don't know why I couldn't say that I had just been playing outside. He's a bit frightened. So he kept silent, and keeping silent is acknowledgement of guilt. When you are asked to confess and tell the truth, if you don't say anything, if you remain silent, it is taken that you have done something wrong. You are in the wrong. My silence was an acknowledgement of guilt. So he felt guilty that he had wasted precious time in playing when he should be studying. So when the elder brother accused him of playing, he kept silent. I asked him, "Where were you?" He did not reply. He did not answer that question. My silence was an acknowledgement of guilt. And my brother would always say angrily, "If you study English this way, you will be studying your whole life and you won't get one word right." So that is not the way to study English. You must continue reading, continue studying, not be interrupted, not go out and play in between. You must study. If you study like the way you are doing, that is going out to play, you will be studying English all your life. Studying English is no laughing matter. It is very important. It is very serious. It needs effort. It needs time. You have to wear out your eyes morning and night. You have to keep on reading, keep on learning until your eyes get tired. You have to wear out your eyes morning and night and use every ounce of energy. Use all your strength, use all your time, use all your ability in reading. Then only you will improve your English. And even then you will just get a smattering of it. Smattering of it means not much, incomplete understanding. Even if you do like this, if you spend all your time in reading and learning, you will not be able to master the English language. That is the idea according to the elder brother. Can't you learn from looking at me? Elder brother is saying, you must see how I am learning. You should learn from me. Can't you learn from looking at me? I am always with my books. I don't go out to play. I don't enjoy or entertain myself. You have seen with your own eyes how hard I work. No matter how many shows and fairs there are, have you ever seen me attending them? There are so many games, so many matches, so many exhibitions, so many fairs, but elder brother will not go. He will be with his books. Have you ever seen me attending any of them? Every day there are cricket and hockey matches. In the hostel itself there are so many matches, but I don't go near them. The elder brother does not even go near them, near where the children are playing hockey and cricket. Even if it is a match or a competition, he doesn't go there. He is with his books. Have you ever, every day there are cricket and hockey matches, but I don't go near them. Despite studying all the time, it takes me 2 years or even 3 years to get through one grade. He spends all his time in studying, but in spite of that hard work, he does not pass every year. What the work which should be completed in 1 year, it will take 2 or 3 years for him. That means he has failed. Then, despite studying all the time, it takes me 2 years or even 3 to get through one grade. One grade means one class. If he is in the 8th standard, he will have to spend 2 years in the 8th standard to go into the 9th standard. How do you expect to pass when you waste all your time like this? Why waste your father's hard-earned money? Not only that, you are wasting money. Father is giving money to put us in the hostel to enable us to study, and you go out and play. So why are you wasting your father's money? After such a dressing down means scolding, I would start crying. Younger brother will start crying. My brother was an expert in the art of giving advice. The narrator of the story is the younger brother. Narrator means the one who tells a story. I would start crying. My brother was an expert. Expert means very good, skilled in the art of giving advice. He'd say such cruel words and overwhelm me with such good advice that my spirits would sink, my courage disappear. He will scold him with such strong words and for such a long time that the younger brother will feel discouraged, will feel unhappy. That is why he is crying there also. He would overwhelm me. Overwhelm have a strong effect on the younger brother. The scolding will have a very strong effect on the younger brother. He will feel sad, he will feel depressed, he will feel like crying. Overwhelm me with such good advice that my spirits would sink. Spirits would sink means he will feel very discouraged, very depressed, very unhappy. And my courage would disappear. I would think, why don't I run away from school and go back home? Why should I spoil my life fiddling with work that is beyond my capacity? I cannot sit all the time and study. I cannot study all the time. So some thoughts entered the younger brother's mind. Why should he waste his time in the hostel? Why can't he run away home without telling anybody? Why should I spoil my life? Fiddling means doing the work which is beyond my capacity. Beyond my capacity, it is not in my ability. I don't have the strength, the skill, the mind to study all the time, to read all the time. I need to play. But after an hour or two, I would get over my despair. For 1 or 2 hours, he will be sad because of the scolding of the elder brother and resolve to study with all my might. He'd make a decision that he will only study. I draw up a schedule on the spot. At that time, he will make a timetable. In my timetable, the time for play was entirely absent. So, the younger brother, according to the advice of the elder brother, made a timetable, and in the timetable there was only study. There was no time for play. The time for play was entirely absent. Get up at 8. Get up at the crack of dawn. Not 8, get up early in the morning. Crack of dawn means early in the morning. Get up at the crack of dawn, wash my hands and face at 6, eat a snack, sit down and study. From 6 to 8, study English. From 8 to 9, arithmetic. 9 to 9:30, history. Then it is time for lunch. Then meal time. And afterwards, off to school. So morning, the whole morning is spent in studying, except the time for dressing up and having food. Then off to school means school bell will ring. A half hour's rest at 3:30. After coming back from school, he will take half hour's rest at 3:30. When I got back from school, when he returned to the hostel, when he came back from school, geography from 4 to 5, grammar from 5 to 6, then a half hour's walk in front of the hostel. No playing, just walking to relax the mind, which even that the elder brother does not need. He relaxes by thinking of words, thinking of sentences, or drawing pictures on the side of the page. Then half hour's walk in front of the hostel, 6:30 to 7 English composition, English grammar, English composition, then dinner, translation from 8 to 9. Maybe he is studying Hindi or Malayalam and not Malayalam, maybe Hindi, and he is translating. Hindi from 9 to 10, from 10 to 11, miscellaneous. That is all other subjects. So no time for play. relaxing only half an hour's walk, and then to bed. But it is one thing to draw up a schedule, another thing to follow it. It is easy for a person like the younger brother to draw a timetable, but he cannot follow it because he likes to play. He is interested in play. But it is one thing to draw up a schedule and another to follow it. It began to be neglected from the very first day. He drew the timetable, but the very first day he could not follow his own timetable. The timetable which I said, the amount of time spent in studying each subject. It began to be neglected from the very first day. The inviting green expanse of the playground, expanse wide open area. You can see through the window. In that picture, children are playing cricket. And the younger brother will be attracted. He will want to play. But the elder brother will not be disturbed by any of these things. The inviting green expanse of the playground, the balmy winds, the cool winds outside, the commotion on the football field, children shouting, children excited, so excited, screaming and shouting. The commotion on the football field, the exciting stratagems of prisoner's base, that is plans to defeat the opponent, the plans which the football player makes to defeat the other side, to defeat the children on the other side. The speed and flurries of the volleyball, how quick. Basketball also is such a quick game, and some players take the game from one end of the field to one end of the court to the other, and so far, so quickly. So the speed and flurries of volleyball would all draw me mysteriously and irresistibly. He felt attracted, he felt drawn. He could not sit and study when he saw all this. As soon as I was there, I forgot everything, the life-destroying schedule. That is, according to him, the timetable which he had drawn up for studying destroyed all his interest, destroyed. The books that strained your eyes, I couldn't remember them all. He couldn't remember any of them. And then my brother would start on again. He would start shouting, scolding. The younger brother would go out to play when he saw other children playing. I would well stay out of his way, try to keep out of his sight, come into my room on tiptoe so he wouldn't know me. But if he spotted me, it would be my death. It would be terrible for me because he would scold me so loudly, so angrily that it was equivalent to my death. He will try to get inside the room without, very softly, very quietly, without any noise, so that the elder brother would not notice that he had been outside. But if the brother saw him coming back to study after being outside for some time, that would be his death. Now we will stop there and we will continue in the next class tomorrow.